This side event is organized in cooperation between the IFRC, GNDR, and UNDR as part of the regional Early Warning for All multi-stakeholder forum. Today, we'll explore how digital platforms, including social media, can effectively deliver early warning messages that empower communities to take action. This session will also provide insight into enhancing disaster preparedness and resilience through strategic communication. We are lucky today to have great panelists with us who will share their knowledge on the topic, and we also look forward to your questions and comments following the presentation during the Q&A session. Our moderator will introduce the speaker shortly, but you will see soon on the display screen the organization and title of our speakers. Now, before we start our panel discussion, I would like to invite Ms. Catherine Clarkson, IFRC Head of Country Cluster Delegation for Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos, to deliver the opening remarks. Please join me in welcoming her to the stage.
Thank you, Sasha, and a very good morning to everybody. And thank you all for joining us this morning for this session and your enthusiasm for Early Warning for All. I think there's been great attendance at all these sessions. I'm representing the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, as Sasha had said, IFRC. We're an international organization with 191 Red Cross and Red Crescent Society members globally. And we're fortunate to be one of the partners in the Early Warning for All initiative, together with the WMO, the UNDRR, and ITU. And IFRC specifically is taking a lead on Pillar 4, which is, many people say, the last mile, but we say it's the first mile, which is the community level preparedness for response. So this session, though, is more focused on not just preparing communities, but really looking at the upstream messages that people receive to be able to prepare themselves and be able to respond. We know from, particularly in our experience during the COVID-19 pandemic, if you all remember that period, there was a lot of misinformation and disinformation that was being spread in social media, also in media. And it made it very difficult for people to trust the sources of information that they were receiving. So we know that trusted people are most likely to respond to information from trusted sources. People they know, people they respect, community leaders, government authorities, Red Cross, Red Crescent societies. But it's very difficult to get a lot of this trusted information out during and before disasters. I wanted to read a short example which I just saw last week, the week before, from one of our members, American Red Cross. You may have been following Typhoon or Hurricane Helene. And there was a post that they put on their social media. I'll just read it briefly. Misinformation can spread quickly after a disaster, causing confusion and distrust within communities struggling to recover. Unfortunately, we're seeing this during our response. Sharing rumours online without first vetting the source and verifying facts ultimately hurt people. People who have lost their homes, neighbourhoods, and in some cases, loved ones. They're already unsure where to turn for help, and spreading misinformation only adds to that uncertainty. It also disrupts our ability to deliver critical aid and affect the disaster workers who have put their own lives on hold to assist those in need. So this session, I think, will help to discuss a lot of the challenges around getting accurate and timely information to people so they can prepare and respond, as well as looking at overcoming barriers of language, digital accessibility, digital literacy, as well as disability to be able to access information. And I hope that we have a great panel, and I hope they can share some of their own suggestions and solutions to really bringing trusted information accurately and timely to people so we can all prepare ourselves and our communities and ultimately save lives and livelihoods. So thank you very much, and thank you very much again to our panel today.
Thank you, Ms. Clarkson, for your opening remarks. Now we'll come to the panel discussion. And for this, I'm very pleased to introduce the moderator who will guide the conversation today, Dr. Gwendolyn Peng. Dr. Peng is the Secretary General of the Philippine Red Cross. She brings over 25 years of humanitarian leadership marked by expertise in disaster management, resilience building, and public health. Her career with the Philippine Red Cross began as a volunteer, eventually leading her to appointment as a Secretary General from 2009 to 2016, during which she played a pivotal role in major operations, including the response to the Super Typhoon Haiyan. In 2016, Dr. Peng joined the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, serving as the head of the East Asia cluster, covering Japan, China, South Korea, and Mongolia. She later became Deputy Regional Director for Asia Pacific, overseeing humanitarian efforts across 38 national societies. Returning to the Philippine Red Cross in 2022, Dr. Peng resumed her roles as Secretary General, continuing to enhance the organization's impact both locally and across the Asia Pacific region. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Peng to the stage. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sasha. And thank you also, Catherine, for the opening statement or opening message, which set the tone of today's session. Good morning to each and every one of you. As mentioned, I'm Gwen Pang. I'm the Secretary General of the Philippine Red Cross. We have 6 powerful panelists joining us in today's session. So before I start, of course, I would like to warmly welcome our excellencies, distinguished guests, delegates, ladies and gentlemen. This session is on risk communication and role of media and social media in ensuring warning messages that should be inclusive, people-centered, and actionable. This side event, by the way, is co-organized between IFRC, or the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, the GNDR and UNDRR. So this is part of the Regional Early Warning for All Multi-Stakeholders Forum. So as we know, as communication around the world face, increasing frequency, and of course, same with disasters, no? And the impact of natural hazards and human-made disasters, effective risk communication has become a cornerstone of disaster preparedness and response. The Early Warning for All initiatives, as what Catherine mentioned earlier, emphasizes on timely, accessible, and actionable warning messages that reach every person at risk, leaving no one behind. Do you know how many thank you, I brought my eyeglasses to make sure that I can read. Thank you. So do you know how many people around the world are using social media? So we have about 5.2 billion people using social media, and 64%. That is, 64% of the world's population. That is how much people engage in social media. So this is indeed a very powerful tool. If used properly, this can help save lives, prevent unnecessary loss of lives and resources. So, however, the challenges related to ensuring inclusivity, relevance, trust, and accessibility remains. So, diverse population interpret as access information differently due to language barriers, disability, digital literacy gap, and of course, distrust, as what Catherine has mentioned many times earlier, in especially official sources and the need to be more specific, tailored content. So as I mentioned, we have a powerful, strong panelists today. So I would like to start already to open the floor to the panelists to discuss the importance of inclusive risk communication in disaster management. To open the panel discussion, I would like to invite and introduce first Mr. Hisan Hassan. Mr. Hisan Hassan is the Chief Executive of the National Disaster Management Authority of Maldives. Mr. Hassan will provide key insights on identifying gaps in risk communication and enhancing risk communication strategies to improve disaster preparedness and response that they have implemented in Maldives, and also to ensure better inclusion of vulnerable people in need. So, Mr. Hassan, thank you for being part of today's panelists. To start with the discussion, can you please tell us, based on your experience, your strong experience in Maldives, on implementing the Early Warning for All initiative? By the way, Maldives was the first to have the roadmap for the Early Warning for All initiative. So what gaps in risk communication have you identified? And what actions have you done, no, or can be done by the Maldivian National Disaster Management Authority and your partners in the country to improve the risk communication strategies to ensure timely, inclusive, and actionable early warning messages that we can give to the residents, especially the most vulnerable population?
Thank you, Gwen, for such a beautiful introduction. Am I audible? First of all, good morning, everyone, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. And it's been a pleasure to be engaged in this panel discussion to share the Early Warning for All initiatives and the risk communication practices from Maldives experience. Can you, next? Let me tell you a story about Maldives. Like hundreds of years ago, being a small island nation, there was our own ways of, transferring messages about risks that we've been facing from island to island. So from the pictures you see, the communities that lived in the islands nearby and far away, they used to light a bonfire in the beach so that the light and the smoke could be seen through the neighboring islands, also far away, where the fishermen and other sorts of people living in the islands could see that a danger is being faced by the island. So they just start their trip and then move on to the island that passes the message, and then they go to help. Also, we used to sound the conch, which is also used in the island communities to alert the communities if there is any sort of danger or risk. So after that, again, Maldives being one of the, as Gwen also has highlighted, that Maldives has, next slide please. Maldives has been one of the first countries to establish the Early Warning for All initiative under the United Nations Early Warning for All initiative. This roadmap also has been endorsed by the cabinet this year, and NDMA is also being the lead pillar for the risk knowledge and communication. Next. We also have inserted the Early Warning for All and the risk communication strategies into our 2024-2029 strategy of the NDMA. Our approach is to, this has been at first to understand the current risk perception in the society. For this, we have done an outline study to see how risk was being perceived in the Maldivian society. Next. For this, we actually did a recent survey to look at the risk communication practices being done. The report actually looked at the current risk communication landscapes, limitations, and how NDMA could improve its risk communication. Next, the main finding of this study was that the society perceives risk based on frequency of occurrence and impact. The majority, actually, can you go back to the previous slide? Yeah. The majority of the participants actually stated that they perceived flood and fire as the main hazard that they face. When we look at these results and then look at the loss and damage reports, we receive it also shows that the frequency of the floods and fires has increased over the past 5 years. And again, just before the tsunami 2004, Maldivian people that thought that they are very peaceful and no such big incidents would be faced until the 2004 tsunami came. Next, the Indian Ocean tsunami, of course, we all know that caused widespread destruction throughout Maldives and other countries as well, but only 50% of the participants actually stated that they view it as major hazard. So here, 20 years down the line, how people perceive that hazard has changed despite its impact. They are with hazards where there's a longer run period, although catastrophic and perception changes over the time. Next. Having understood the risk hazard perception in the country, we then looked at what are the mediums that people use to assess this information. Given that the internet penetration in the Maldives is 84%, Gwen. In Maldives, it's a very huge number. Also in 2024, we found out that lots of social media platforms are used by the population to assess risk information. This again is a significant change we compare it to 20 years ago when people actually depended on TV and radio messages. When we look at social media, Facebook, messaging app, and Vibers and other sources, it is the most common platform that people use, mainly because Maldives Meteorological Service and NDMA also uses their handles on these social media platforms. In order to make our risk communication more inclusive, we met the CSOs that represent people with special needs and had a conversation on how we could improve communications. These consultations were an eye-opening experience for us. We were told that we need to emphasize on captioning and audio formats for all risk communication contents to ensure accessibility for blind, visually impaired and other individuals with special needs. Similarly, the importance of providing voice messaging for visually impaired and creating inclusive printed signs, or also audio descriptions and pictograms were recommended as tools to assist children with autism. We have taken all this into consideration to develop future risk communication content. Next slide, please. Based on this study, we have launched a national risk awareness campaign called Hushiar with the support of our partner agencies, especially Maldivian Red Crescent, Maldives Meteorological Service, and Fire and Rescue Services. The aim is to increase the number of partners over the coming weeks and months, and as the campaign develops, through this campaign, we aim to influence the risk perception of the society and influence how the society would react to these hazards when they occur, or most cases to prevent them from occurring. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hassan, for sharing with us what already you have been doing or implementing in Maldives, and also the analysis, I think, are very important because that gives us also the understanding of the ever-evolving need to also improve, our communications to the communities. And what I have noted from your presentation is the importance of inclusivity, including children with autism. So in the Red Cross, we share the same. We make sure that we include, everyone when we communicate risk risk for all. So thank you very much again, Mr. Hassan. We have time to come back to all of you later in some of the perhaps follow-up questions from the crowd. So now our next panelist is from the Young People's Action Team of UNICEF East Asia and Pacific. She's based in Cambodia. So we have Miss Dalen Sia. Hi, Dalen. She's here to talk about youth as agents of change and how their use of social media and media contributes to effective dissemination of information and early warning systems. So thank you, Dalen, for joining us today. So can you tell us, in your experience, how can young people use social media effectively to promote greater community engagement in disaster preparedness and risk communication, and also how the young people can actually inspire or engage the older people, how can they make best use of social media? Because in the older population, perhaps they still struggle, in the use of social media. So can you please tell us about your experience, and also how did you engage the government and other sectors in the community, in the risk communication work that you've been doing in Cambodia? Thank you.
So thank you very much, Dr. Kwen, for the questions. And first of all, greeting to Mr. Hassan, his sons, Mr. Afat, Ms. Kina, Bong Suchit, and Ms. Gemma. And good morning to everyone. So as introduced, my name is Dalain, a member of Young People Action Team from UNICEF from Cambodia. So back to the questions. How can young people use social media effectively to promote greater community engagement in disseminate the early warning system and disaster preparedness? So I have a video to show all of you, like about 2 minutes long, to show the comparison what it's like to have social media and have no social media to disseminate the information about disaster risk reduction. So please kindly play the video.
Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, ours is recommendation number 2, which is utilizing technology and social media to communicate information regarding climate change, disaster risk reduction, preparedness, and early warning systems. Behind me, there's 2 groups in where we'll just showcase to you the importance of technology and the consequences of not having technology with us. So this group over here will be showcasing the negative impacts of having no technology in the system when climate or natural disaster happens.
Freeze! This is the example of bad things that can happen to a person if he or she doesn't have an access into technology. This could cause damage and even death.
So the next scene we will see when there's technology existence.
Dad, I saw a Facebook page from the authorities that there is a typhoon that will be hitting our area. Okay, we should get ready and move to the shelter. Okay, Dad, let's go. Dad, remember to message Grandpa and family. Noted, son. Let's go.
So in the next scene, you can specifically see what happens when there's technology. We are able to be prepared. So that's just short scenarios on what we think the importance showcases the importance of technology.
So you can see, yes. So thank you very much. So as you can see, with technology, we get a more accessible to the information dissemination on what is going to happen, and we can have enough time to prepare yourself and our family in order to fight against what is going to happen. So in order to support for older generation or elderly people, so we know that even though this is in the digital era, some people, like older people, they are not familiar with technology. Even though my parents, they're not very accessible, have familiar with the typing or searching in the internet. So as we are young people, what we can do is to conduct some of training in our community, gather with older people to teach them how to use some specific app or website. Or it can be simple action that such as teach them how to message or teach them how to comment or sharing or joining the online community in order to get to know more information about what is going to happen next. So it can be one-on-one support as well. Even though you are with your family in your house or in your homes, you can teach them, oh, this is, if you want to search about disaster preparedness, you can go to the website in the EW4All or something, so that you can familiar with it later on. So as in the next question as well, so like how can the government and civil organization can leverage the use of social media in risk communication and better involve with young people in the action as well. So in the context of risk communication, the government and civil society organization have a very huge role to disseminate the information. But there are some ways that the government and civil organization can better involve in young people, because young people are the agent of change. They are the ones that get involved with the community itself. So the government can be partner with the youth-led organization or volunteer students in the school as well as in the community. So with that way, the government and the organization can work together with young people. We can reduce the number of death, injury, and property loss as well. So another point is to leverage the mobile alert system, because like we know about 70% of the world population have own mobile phone. So this is the best way to alert people, the user, because like most of the people in community have mobile alert system. So thank you very much. Oh, sorry.
Great. Thank you so much, Dalen. Was this your presentation shows the critical role of the young people, the youth, no, in today's world, especially in disseminating information, to the public, and not only that, how they also inspire the elderly population to also use social media. And if people are aware, I think the skit was very good, was very nicely made. If people are aware of how they can actually what to do, I mean, in the event of any upcoming disaster or crisis or risk, they're more relaxed. They know what to do. Their minds are clearer. In fact, instead of getting panic, they even held selfies, earlier, and to send to family members that they're okay and they're moving to the evacuation centers. So thank you very much. And by the way, 57 million of our social media users are from age group of below 26 years old. So we really have to engage them and be part of whatever we work. So this should call for the inclusivity. Thank you, Dalen, again. So our next panelist is Mr. Alfred Mark Rosete. Mark is the Disaster Risk Reduction and Early Warning System Program Lead of the People in Need. So he will share his experiences on People in Need's early warning system projects in the Philippines, and also the importance of community engagement in disaster preparedness and the use of technology to enhance early warning system and to contribute to the community improvement. So Mark, tell us how the People in Need early warning system project in the Philippines had improved the local community's capacity to respond to natural risks, and what specific outcomes have you observed since you have implemented the project? And also, can you also touch upon some of the challenges that you have come across, and how did you address that, especially in reaching the most vulnerable population? Now, Philippines is divided by bodies of water. We have 7,100 islands in the country. And so how, did you ensure that, we by using, through your project, we're able to really engage the people? Thanks. Over to you, Mark.
Thank you so much. And first of all, Thank you for this opportunity for us to share our work at People in Need and how we do early warning system together with community engagement. So please, I have a presentation. So basically, as People in Need, we're trying to implement in Mindanao, Philippines, the STREAM Early Warning System project. This is supported by the GSMA through the GSMA Innovation Fund for Anticipatory Humanitarian Action, the FCDO, and the UKAID through the UK government, and also in partnership with Smart Communications and the Department of Science and Technology through the Mindanao Pag-asa Regional Services Division. So our goal here is we try to actually create or co-implement or develop people-centered and localized early warning system for flooding. We wanted to provide or deliver fast, clear, concise messages directly at the community level, leveraging on the context and also digital innovation and digital technology. So we are targeting to onboard 52,000 individuals living in high-risk areas to receive this fast messaging. No? So there are still, in terms of early warning system, the whole country, there are still opportunities where we can improve local early warning systems and then utilizing what is existing and introducing the technology. So we believe that the use of digital technology, new innovations, such as connected sensors, Internet of Things, can help increase or improve disaster resilience at the community level. So in our part, we provided technology such as solar-powered sensors, automated weather stations. We also created platforms for local government to access real-time information about flooding. And upon reaching certain thresholds, it can directly send messages to the communities, location-based, basically. So that's how basically how the system works. So we are in partnership with Smart. They have provided us the system to do SMS broadcasting, and these platforms deliver actually the messages. So building upon the success of EWS1294 in Cambodia, we try to bring the success from Cambodia into different parts of Asia. We are also doing this project in Nepal, and Laos, and here in the Philippines. So since we begin, the implementation of this early warning system actually way back in 2022. At the moment, we already have reached 49,000 individuals living in Mindanao in these flood-prone areas, which is 94% of the total 52,000 targets that we actually plan to provide the messages with. So based on our midline learning interventions with our partners, local governments, our partners in Caraga, Misamis Occidental, and BARM, and Zamboanga Peninsula have reported to actually gain confidence in utilizing these new innovations and platforms as a result of the project. Some of our community partners also have reported to have gained better understanding of the use of technology and risk communication into disaster preparedness and enhancing basically flood resilience. So these achievements that we so far achieved through the project are closely tied with the different community engagement and platforms and avenues that we try to provide. So collaboration, inclusion, and trying to involve people, especially vulnerable sectors, is the only way we can make actually resilience realized, especially at the local level. So apart from, on top of providing digital technologies, apart from introducing innovation, it is important that we always involve people in every stages of developing early warning system and to the whole DRRM spectrum as a whole. So thank you very much and good morning.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mark, for sharing the work of the people in need. No? we in the Red Cross can relate very much with you that in whatever we do, we have to engage people in every step of the way. Not only that, but also engaging other key partners, like what you have mentioned earlier. You have engaged SMART, which is the private sector, and also the local government, which is very important in the work that we do. You know, engaging also other partners. I think with that, we can have a lot of complementarity in each other's work. Okay, thank you again, Mark. Now, I would like to invite Ms. Kia Obang, the program officer of Internews Philippines, to provide key insights on the experiences of Internews in social media monitoring through local media platforms to address the issues of disinformation. This is actually the hard, very, very hard, you know. It's hard to already disseminate right information, but if you have a lot of disinformation going on, it's more harder to make right communications to be sent across to people, and how to leverage the use of media and social media for disaster preparedness. So the question I would like to ask you, Kia, is how has your project tackling disinformation? Can you give some examples, especially in the Philippines, you know, and how your project have progressed since you have implemented in 2019?
Okay. Good morning. Thank you for that introduction, Dr. Gwen. I'm Kia Abang, Program Officer for Internews Philippines, and it's really a great opportunity to share our experiences in addressing this information to create healthy information ecosystems here in the Philippines. So at Internews, we believe everyone deserves trustworthy news and information to make informed decisions about their lives and hold power to account. So we support independent media in 100 countries, from radio stations and refugee camps to hyper-local news outlets to individual activists and reporters. In the next slides, this is our news strategy. We identified these 7 key elements that together define the health of any information ecosystem. So these elements underpin our theory of change, program design, and thought leadership. So to answer the question, Internews has been running projects focused in addressing disinformation here in the Philippines since 2019. In the next slide, this involves an array of proactive engagements that like fact-checking and myth-busting initiatives, as well as media and information literacy campaigns that promote critical thinking and informed judgment. We also have disinformation investigations, which play a vital role in building evidence. And this really helps us to limit the reach and impact of the false information. We also have algorithm accountability, as tech platforms must ensure the civic spaces remain free and safe from disinformation. It's also important for us in investing in trustworthy news and media supports independent journalism here in the Philippines and enabling accurate and responsible reporting. And lastly is policy advocacy, which is also a key in rebuilding trust in the media sector. So as Dr. Gwen asked for a specific project, I'd also like to share particularly our social media monitoring. In the next slide, we launched it, which is called Totoo Ba? .info. So that is in Filipino, and that means, is it true? So we actually document this information through voluntary incident reporting. However, during recent elections here in the Philippines, it became very evident that volunteer-based monitoring was inadequate. And as a result, Internews assigned a team of 10 social media monitors to gather data from various regions in the Philippines. And this team monitored this information in multiple languages, ensuring comprehensive coverage beyond the national capital region in the Philippines. And we didn't stop there, and we improved and rebranded it to Digital Insights and Literacy, not just to address this information, but we're also seeing the emergence of the influence operations in the social media. So our platform was able to receive 23,442 reports And we were able to identify 5,399 unique accounts involved in disinformation and influence operations. From that data, we were able to produce 33 monthly analysis, which were shared with our different stakeholders, especially for our media partners who use the analysis for their fact-checking and investigations, and even academic researchers to conduct their disinformation and influence operations studies here in the Philippines. We also have a official partnership with social platforms like Meta and TikTok. And from our database, this resulted into removal of hundreds of links and accounts with 300,000 followers spreading harmful content. So our approach in Internews, we combine proactive data collection and soft diplomacy to enhance platform accountability. I'd also like to share one of our project during the time of the pandemic. We called it Rooted in Trust. In next slide, please. So this is actually a global project which aimed to counter COVID-19 mis and disinformation in 2010 to 2021. And in the Philippines, the project focused to creating effective communication channel among the public health agencies, humanitarian organizations, and local media to connect with the COVID-19 affected communities in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. So we produce a bi-weekly rumor bulletin called Salig Bangsamoro, that means Trust Bangsamoro, which gathered rumors, this time not just online, but also offline, especially on the hard-to-reach villages. So the bulletin was actually used by our local partners to share accurate COVID-19 information with the communities in Lanao del Sur and Maguindanao. So the good thing is they didn't stop there and they didn't just use our bulletin, but they also replicated and create their own bulletin called Sabangka, which means Rise Up, rumor bulletin, which is translated into languages. So they have community patrollers, which are the youth, conducted their learning groups and feedback sessions to further disseminate the information. And additionally, the project completed an information ecosystem assessment in the BARM. So to answer the how we could leverage or effectively leverage media and social media in the context of disaster preparedness and risk communication, it is really crucial to adopt a strategy that combines global perspectives with local actions. This involves integrating still the legacy media and digital platforms to ensure a comprehensive coverage and relevance. It is also important to provide mentorship on training on verification skills and investigative, not just in the media, but especially for the public. I think it's really about time for them to really have that digital literacy. And we could not highlight as well really the active monitoring and analysis and reporting, which are essential to stay ahead of the disinformation and respond promptly, knowing that there are also emergence of the AI content in the social media. And lastly, raising public awareness through social listening tools that can help public sentiment and concerns and enabling more targeted and effective communication strategies.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Kia. Yes, indeed, your work in monitoring is very important. Not only that, I saw also your countering disinformation, which help protects individuals from harm, but also upholds the integrity of public discourse, in an increasingly polarizing and manipulative environment. So I've taken note of the programs that you've been doing, a very good initiative, and of course how we use that to maintain trust of the public and also especially during time of crisis. On COVID time, yes, there were a lot of disinformation. Thank you, Kia. Okay, to move forward, I would like to introduce our next panelist, which our next panelist is Mr. So Sok Hit, the Project Management Unit Manager of the National Committee for Disaster Management of Cambodia. So Mr. So will actually talk about or focus his discussion on the progress of early warning for all in Cambodia, including the work of preparing an operational plan to engage people And that is actually a very difficult one, and also to strategies for greater inclusion in dissemination of early warning messages. Mr. So, I would like to ask you, how is the Cambodian government planning to enhance risk communication and community engagement to make sure that early warning messages under the Early Warning for All initiatives are inclusive, accessible, actionable for all, particularly, of course, people with disabilities?
Thank you so much, Doctor, and thank you everyone for being here. And my name is Suchit So. I'm Senior Technical Officer and as well as PMU Manager for NCDM Cambodia. This is like a very hard question for us since we are just starting to moving forward our EW4All initiative in Cambodia. We was informed about like we are the focal person for the EW4All in 2013, which is like very new. And then we come up with the starting with how we can mobilize the stakeholder that engage on disaster risk management in Cambodia, regardless not just EW, but for disaster risk reduction, to those who have the interested in participating to moving forward EW4All in Cambodia. And then we come up with the idea of how we can moving this forward by engaging the roadmap. The roadmap is starting to develop, and then now we are come up with the final draft and soon to be approved. And the roadmap is really engage all the development partner, NGO, civil society, and as well as the private sectors engage in there, because they are also part of the effect of the disaster, and also they want to know what is going to happen that can be affect to their livelihood, to their business, and as well as to other. Regarding to the how we are addressed to the issue regarding to the communication and as well as the risk, this is in our way that we're moving forward for EW4All is we start first with the having the coordination platform for EW4All, which is we try to engage all the parties like the development partner, NGO, the government, civil society, and as well as the private sector, those who are interested to participate, and as well as they know themselves that it is really affected due to EW4All. Come up with that, we will, through the platform that we are going to develop, we will also planning for having the coordination among the pillar, because each of pillar, they have the different diversity group that participate and interested in it, and really difficult to bring everyone to talk everything in just one platform. But we have another sub-platform that can be responsible. For example, platform number 1, what is their team supposed to do, and how they are moderate, and as well as how they are coordinated among the platform number 1. And come to the platform number 3 is very, very sensitivity about how we are controlled, how we are managed about information we are disseminated. We understand that information that we disseminated, to make sure all the people is access it very difficult. But to have the people understand what to do within those information that you provide is more difficult than that. That is something that we really want to manage among our platform that we are going to develop, is to have the people have one center communication to the people that what we want our people to do to anticipate about this information. And geographical is also very important, because we cannot just use our single word to all the geographical area, but we use our word to different geographical that they have different impact, different situation, and also different group of the people. So this is something that we are trying to do. For experience in the past, we use, like our friend from PIN is mentioned about EW4All, as well as 1294 is something that we are invest for many years in Cambodia, and it become a rollout modality that we are going to use for other countries. The start is really just convey the message from the ministry that is responsible to develop the warning. And the second, we start to think, the people just heard about the level of the warning that the ministry they disseminate is they cannot do anything. So we teach our local level, we call a Provincial Disaster Management Committee to understand about how we are develop this second level message that can be informed to the entire group of the people that involved in the warning, not just the committee, but also the partner that we are working, like the NGO. What NGO should do at this stage of the information? What the local government, like the district and commune, should do in this level of the information? Because all our information that we share to the people, it having a different level. Sometimes 15 days before what they're supposed to do, sometimes 5 days before supposed to do, and 3 hours before what they are supposed to do. So we need to have actionable information so that we can tell the people they are engaged with our information sharing. So that's all I want to share, and I hope that our early warning for all roadmap as well as our operational plan, with the engage our people, will provide the people information correctly and effectively. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you so much, Mr. So. Indeed, the early warning for all for Cambodia is a long way to go. But if it's done, you are done with the plan and everything, hopefully, also with Maldives, we can actually use it as a prototype. No? In Asia Pacific, there are 10 societies that were selected working in the IFRC, together with the IFRC, on early warning for all initiatives, 5 from Pacific and 5 from Asia. So there are a lot of similarities when we in the region. So perhaps we can actually bank, on the works that you have done already, together with our Red Cross or Crescent counterparts in your respective national societies, and that can also be a template, of plan by the government, and also, the Red Cross can support that as well. Thank you very much, Mr. So. Okay, so in the panelists, as you can see, we have experts from the government, we have experts from the civil societies, and we have also from youth. This time, our next panelist brings with her the expertise coming from, the media. So our next panelist is Ms. Gemma Heyman. She's the Regional Director of Asia Pacific and Europe of BBC Media Action. So Gemma, thank you for joining us in today's panel discussion. So Gemma will provide us key insights on the experiences of BBC in disseminating early warning messages, particularly the importance of timely and clear messages in order to reach the most vulnerable communities. But Gemma, I want to ask you, in particular, because we heard already so much of what has been done, perhaps what have you learned? What have BBC learned in using media and social media in terms of disaster preparedness and dissemination for early warning messages? At the same time, while having you, it would be good to hear from you about your perspective on the pivotal role that the media plays, because media are so powerful. You have the platform, you have the reach. So I'm sure BBC can inspire, more media out there to, work with the government and civil societies in ensuring that early warning is for all. So over to you, Gemma.
Thank you so much. I'm really feeling the pressure now. And we were talking earlier, this really is an exercise in effective communication. I, for one, could talk about this across a whole conference. So I very much hope to be able to have the opportunity to connect with some of you later and to continue the conversation. Can we have the first slide, please? So BBC Media Action is part of the BBC, but we are a development organisation. We're the BBC's international charity. So we're not the news organisation of the BBC, but we do work to the BBC's editorial values and very much putting creativity and audiences really at the centre of everything that we do. We work across Asia Pacific and indeed Africa, Middle East and Europe, and we have a long history of working on disaster risk communication in the region, and it's such a pleasure to be here, so thank you so much for the invitation. It's also really great timing for us because we have just concluded a project called RICA, which is Risk-Informed Communication for Early Action, which was funded by USAID and which we delivered in support in partnership with UNDRR. And as part of that project, we have developed some resources, which I'll be drawing from today, and I'll show you later where you can get hold of them. So it's great timing. So 3 things we've learned, or some of the things that we've learned. Now, we would say this, media is fantastic. I'm a media professional. It's so versatile. It is not used to anywhere near its potential. And I think that would be my first big point to make here. Allied to that, early warning does not always prompt early action, even when it's relevant and timely. And that's something to really bear in mind, and to look back and think, what else can media do? And looking at the early warning for all 4 pillars, it's so striking to me that media can really play a role in all 4 of the pillars. It can disseminate messages. It can help to prompt informed dialogue and to make sense of data and to connect the experts and the scientists with communities. It can shift how people think, how they feel, and how they act. It can surface and amplify indigenous knowledge, and that's such an important point. And it can hold stakeholders to account. And this point about early warning not always prompting early action, even when it's relevant and timely, is such an important one. And we saw from our work in this project in Somalia that people, when they had in a flooding situation last year, people had the information, it was disseminated on multiple channels, it was clear, it was concise, it was actionable. People didn't take action. And the reason they didn't take action was because of religious beliefs, because of other barriers such as their safety, fears around resourcing, and the fact that they didn't trust the information. Next slide, please. So this is one thing I wanted to, another big point I wanted to make is that communication is a process. It's not a one-way channel, and it's really, really important to plan, to think about what you want to do, informed by a really in-depth understanding of the media and communication environment, but also about the people and about the context that they're living in, and really think about what is it you want to achieve with this particular piece of content. And when it comes to doing, it's really important to think about how you're going to reach and how the content is going to resonate. And I just wanted to quickly give you a very quick example from my work in Cambodia. So if we can go on to the next slide, please. And this was a project we did on DRR and climate resilience. And we came up with a really creative format, a TV reality show, which we thought would resonate really highly with the Cambodian people, because it had lots of role modeling in it, lots of storytelling and emotional stories. And basically, we brought together communities who were at risk of particular weather hazards and joined them together with others who had already taken action and with experts. And this still we have here is from a practice evacuation drill. And one of the things that we learned from pre-testing, which is really, really key, pre-test your content, is that people found that, yeah, they quite liked the content, but they found that it was quite difficult to follow. So we then inserted an animation to help make the technique much clearer. And then very quickly, I can't believe I've run out of time, having said that about effective communication, if you can just quickly go to the next slide. And this is a bit of a plug for the Pocket Guide. Characteristics of impactful communication. One of the key takeaways I got from yesterday was that risk knowledge is nothing unless the communication is effective, and that's such an important thing. And this genius acronym that one of my colleagues came up with on impactful communication, I think will help with that. And then last slide, please. You can find the Pocket Guide here. Sorry, we don't have a QR code yet. The Pocket Guide is available on our website, and you can also find it on Prevention Web. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Gemma. Very insightful. What I pick up from you is that it really should be people-centered. Whatever communication you're being, it's not enough, that you just send a message across. You have to make sure you have to be mindful. You understand who are the people that you're communicating with, who will benefit from your communication, how to get them engaged. A whole lot of things that we have to learn from the media. And of course, thank you for sharing us some of your checklists, reminders, or maybe some of the guides that you have shown earlier. I took a photo of the impactful slide, so I think we have to learn more on that. Thank you so much, Gemma. Now, this time, let's move into the role also of the audiences, no, for this session. We have heard, already from our panelists. So I would like you to take part of this discussion by joining the Mentimeter. What's this survey that we want to do? Or Slido? Is it Slido? What are we using? Okay, we're using Slido. So can you please flash the QR code and, yeah. So, and enter the code. All right. So I have 3 questions that I want to ask from you. How, and then also for others, can you please, if you have questions, you can start writing them down because we have opportunity for Q&A after this. All right. Okay, so let's flash the questions. Are we ready? Okay, maybe we keep one slide for the question, no? And one slide for the QR because some. Okay, so let's start. Let's flash the questions. Okay. So you have, so here. So the first question in the Menti is which approaches do you find most relevant in making early warning messages more inclusive and accessible? Let's see. So it's still moving, but I can see that simplified messaging tops, the most. So I think it resonates. We have heard that from our from our panelists earlier. Simplified messages is very, very important so people can understand. It's to their language. They can actually understand. They can resonate with it. And then next will be, next is the language localization, of course. No? It is very important that we communicate it in the language that they can understand, that they can relate. No? And then the next one is real-time updating. Real-time updating, I think some of our panelists have emphasized on the real-time updating. Speed, fast, the fastest we can send the information across, that is the most important. Otherwise, it defeats the purpose of, risk communication. I missed the green one, which is inclusive design, I can't see. Inclusive design for disabilities. Yes, so this is also very, very important. In communicating, we can be inclusive if we actually consider also the need of other sectors in our population. People with disabilities are very important. And then visual aids. Okay, the infographics are very important also. So those are the top 5 from the what we hear, okay, from the audiences. Maybe later you can have some linking questions to these questions here when we do the Q&A. No, you can go back. Maybe we can ask for more examples or maybe experiences that from our panelists in line with the result of our Menti. Let's go to the next one. Okay. So the next one is we want suggestions for improving risk communication and early warning systems using media and social media for vulnerable communities. Let's see. Still moving. So the most used words here are localized and inclusive. Okay, so we have heard that many times. It is in the discussion earlier. Localized and inclusive are the suggestions, to improve our early warning system and messaging. The things that we have to consider. It should be localized communication and also inclusive also simplified is coming out. So these are the keywords. We will also share, can we share this? We can share the results, no? Okay. So we can share the results to you so you can actually be reminded and go back to the slides. So yeah, it keeps moving. You can take a photo actually. Timely is coming out. Multi-directional. Okay. Context-based, yes, context-based. So also very important, no, in the things that we have to improve in terms of trust. I see trust coming out also. Community-based, community participation. Okay, so I think those are the localized, actually top the most, if you can see. So you see localized our communication. And that was also mentioned earlier. Next, let's go to the next one. In a short sentence, what are some of the key takeaways that for you in this session? So let's see, what are the key takeaways? Because we asked for a sentence, so it's a bit of taking time. Maybe should be like one word. Responding is off. So what happened? Okay. Okay. Impactful. Okay. Media is powerful way of communication. Extreme events are not always perceived accurately by people. Inclusive risk communication. Improve peer-to-peer education through relevant orientation of IT. In fact, peer-to-peer, as what we saw today, is not anymore of the same age group. Peer-to-peer can also be from a son to a father, no? So it's really about how we can help people orient with IT use. Communication is a process. Yes, it's not a magic that when you communicate, you can change things. We have to have patience. We have to find the right way of communicating with the people. Extreme event, we can address this information. Yes, it was already shared earlier by Ms. Obang. And then we must combat this information on all fronts. Yes, it also was given earlier. Every messages should be localized and easy to understand. As you can see, it's the localization and simplification. It came out 3 times. From the first question, second question, the third question. Okay. So, all right, are we done? I think we're done, okay? So let's have time. So for Q&A, I would like to hear, from the crowd, questions that you would like to address to our panelists. Because they're here, we have to take, I would like you to take advantage of that. Also, if you have some insights to share. So the floor is now open for question. Or you can go back to the Menti and maybe ask our panelists to expound it a bit, especially banking on their experiences. So, yes. Okay, I see a hand there.
Thank you. This is Mohammad Shahjahan Shaju. I am working with Bangladesh Re-Education Society and also looking about anticipatory action. And presently, I am a coordinator for anticipatory technical working group. Actually, I'll not ask any question, but I'm just sharing some fact and figure regarding the early warning and community-based early warning system. So here, mainly discuss about 2 broad channels. One is print and electronic media, and another is social media. So when we talk about social media, we should also discuss about pros and cons. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to share the information with the community people. I just give an example from Bangladesh. So in Bangla, digit 4, design is more or less same English digit 8. So when one community people or one Bangladeshi people write a message in combination between Bangla and English, it is called Banglish. Sometimes it will disseminate a wrong message with the community people. It's also same in the flood prone area, like in Bangladesh, flood forecasting and warning center, they have 61 water measuring station. Like one station called is Bahadurabad, which is around 100 kilometer, situated 100 kilometer in the lower stream. So it is not very meaningful for the people who are living in the upper stream. That means around 100 kilometer upper stream. So, but someone disseminating the early warning message by using the Bahadurabad station forecast. So that's why sometimes using always social media, we should also discuss about pros and cons. Otherwise, it will be create some panic. I found in Bangladesh during some of the cyclone season, government only issued signal number 4, but some people they are disseminating now signal number is 8. So that's why we should also discuss about pros and cons. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing that. I think that is common issues and concern. In Philippines also we have a Taglish, Tagalog and English. Sometimes there's no direct translation on some of the words. So it can be very confusing. So, but hopefully we can find some solutions. Yes. The lady in black standing.
Hello. Is it working? Hello, good afternoon. Is it almost afternoon? Anyway,
It's afternoon
I
already. It's
missed
12:10.
majority of the sessions because there are so many ongoing sessions that you
Yeah.
have to, I don't know, I am fleeting from one room to another, but I saw risk communication. And I want to say this, in the Philippines, traditional and mainstream media or journalism is still very important, and it still finds its way in the reportage of the RRM. The role of media here in the Philippines, especially community media, as I represent the Center for Community Journalism and Development, is very important. But one of the things that we realize, majority of media practitioners would not be so familiar with the concepts and principles of DRRM. So a lot of capability building has to be inputted. They have to know more and of the many changing and varied policies, for example, on DRRM and CCA. I just would like to say here that we are there, we are moving towards making community media or community journalists be part of the equation to make sure that inclusivity, localized actions, or community-driven, community-led initiatives are part of their reportage. Almost always we focus on what disasters are happening, when it is happening, not much on prevention and mitigation, particularly on what we can do, not only for preparedness to respond, but the whole gamut of all our prevention, mitigation, disaster preparedness, and of course, post-disaster, especially on recovery. I don't know if what I'm saying now is just a superfluous thing, but I hope it should be part of the discussion, not only of social media, but traditional and mainstream media in other countries as well. Thank you very much.
Can you please introduce yourself?
I'm very sorry. I am Adelina Sevilla Alvarez. I represent my organization, which is Center for Community Journalism and Development, CCJD, and I also represent the bigger network, which is the Disaster Risk Reduction Network Philippines.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, I think earlier our panelist from Maldives, Mr. Hassan, has actually gave example on the use of also traditional communication tools and platforms. The combination of both, whatever it will be best for the people, I think that is more important. And I think I want to pick up from what you said, that the media should actually understand the DRRM. So maybe we have to also work together more with our media partners. Okay, thank you. I saw a hand here earlier. Okay, so I get you first, and then the lady, and then the man in yellow. Sorry, I don't know your name. So can you please introduce yourself first quickly, and then quickly give your question or your reflection.
Hello, namaste, and very good morning. This is Suraj Gautam, all the way from Nepal. So yeah, I really acknowledge the way social media is doing a lot of influence towards risk communication. I belong to a country where the elevation ranges from like 60 meters to 8,848.86 meters. So given the challenges of the topography and different other constraints and barriers, sometimes it's really difficult that we don't have such kind of access to information in the very remote areas. And often during the disaster time, such kind of infrastructures are often hit, and we do not get good communication. And in the given scenario, since we are focusing more on the social medias and different digital and electronic media, our indigenous way of communicating the risk information is also not being practiced the way it used to be. So on that note, I would be really happy to learn about some practices that are being done to improve the community engagement and the way that how we can also proceed with our previous indigenous means of ways, and also the ways how we can communicate the risk, not just through the electronic media, but also through other means. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So who from the panelists would like to answer that? But maybe I'll take the two more questions, and let's see. Maybe those are questions, if not comments, no? So we can answer together. Yes, Miss, the lady with using cell phone, yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for that question.
Okay. Hello. Okay, good afternoon. So I'm Reina Manongsong. I'm the communication officer for the Philippine Disaster Resilience Foundation. So my question is for Ms. Kia of Internews Philippines. So I have two actually. So the first one would be, has there been an instance where in your Totoo Ba that info or the dial platform, has there been an instance where a government platform or an elected official's official public platform was flagged for a disinformation post or a misleading post? And if there was, what was the Internews response for that, or your established algorithm for corrective action? And then another one is, congratulations on your beautiful work in the Bangsamoro region, but are there plans to scale up your operations to also include the regions in the Luzon and the Visayas area? So that's it po. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Then we get this last. Oh, okay, I go to you.
Talafalava. My name is Siripa Mutsalo. I'm from Samoa, and it's great to be here. I'm from a country with a population of only about 200,000 people, and I work at a meteorological service, which utilizes social media as one of the tools to disseminate and push out our information, and something that we are very proud of. We've got about just over 50,000 followers and likes on our social media Facebook page, which is about roughly 25% of the population. So, and it's nothing that, I mean, it's something that we've worked so hard for as well. It's been work, a lot of work has been put in through. So we've come from 10 years ago where we will get only like 2 likes on a warning message, and transition to recently more like 500 shares and more than 1,000 likes, up to 50,000 people reached in one post in the last 10 years. So it's indicative of how much people have grown to learn and appreciate our service we provide in the DRR, but at the same time have become more aware of the risks. But with the emergence of artificial intelligence at an age of so much disinformation and misinformation, the question to the panelists is, what are some of the challenges that you already anticipate with this rapidly developing technology in the face of severe hazards? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, I'm sorry because I saw a hand there earlier, but I did not see the person again. But he came back, so let's pick up this one. Okay, this will be the last question. So while our panelists are preparing for the answers.
Okay, this would be basically addressed to the whole panel. I'm Darwin Papa from the city of Iloilo. Actually, I kept hearing about disinformation and misinformation. And my question actually is focused on, first and foremost, how do we ensure, because we've seen already programs that we are doing, how do we ensure that those people consuming the information are actually consuming credible information? And at the same time, in case there would be programs that will be set up for that type of activity, how could we, do you have a sample on how to sustain those programs?
Okay,
Yes.
thank you very much. So we have 4 questions. One is on engaging indigenous people. So we can pick up 1 or 2 working with indigenous people on the risk communication. We can pick up 1 or 2 panelists. You can choose what question you want to answer. But for Kia, I think you have to answer the question earlier about scaling up, how you're going to expand it nationwide, and also there was another question. I'm sure you pick it up. And then on the social media side, what could be, the possible scare that we have to look into, especially it's rapidly, developing platform. How do we see that? No. So, and then the last question is actually on disinformation and also misinformation. So we have 5 minutes left. Okay. So who would like to answer first on the engagement with indigenous people? Yes, Mark.
All right, so thank you for the questions. Let me share this.
Let's do it very fast.
Yes, in our perspective and experience of doing this. So it was mentioned earlier by, I forgot the name of the gentleman, about how to address, this, providing risk information to the people. Basically, as what I emphasized earlier, the only way we can do this better, not just in the spectrum of early warning system, but in the whole disaster management programs that we are doing. It will tackle, actually, it will answer disinformation, it will answer, inclusion. And the only way we can do that is to make people the heart of this initiative. So they have to be involved in the processes. And in the case of the Philippines, in our case, apart from doing, introducing technologies, these are vulnerable, as you said earlier, to failures, especially in disaster situations. Even, for example, in our case, we're relying, for example, on SMS. But we know that when disaster strikes, mobile communication and then signals might be unreliable or lost at the moment. So it's about really strengthening community-based DRRM. That should be part of the whole way of doing things. This will address a lot of things. If people are the center of what we do, it addresses everything, this information. In our case, the people develop the messages that they think the most appropriate, they should receive in a specific warning level. So we have yellow alerts, for example, red alerts, orange alerts. So the people designed, the messages based on the language that they understand, based on the messages that they wanted to see, that they feel will make more, actionable measures at the local level. And in the Philippines, we are rich in terms of, or there's a vibrant strategies or methods that communities are actually doing in the past as part of implementing community-based disaster management. So we are capitalizing on that. We have to capitalize and recognize digital technology should not meant to replace the already existing methods that the communities are doing. These are only additional options for the local government, for disaster managers to handle much better disaster management.
Okay.
So we have to go back at the very
Yeah.
beginning of including people in
Very
this
well
work.
said, Mark. Thank you very much. So now let's move to the next question. Because the timekeeper kept raising the reminder. Okay, so I'm getting more tense. So thank you, Mark. But I think that is already extensive answer to the question. Let's move to Kia.
Okay, thank you for the questions for Internews. So for the first one, most of our data, we observe that we have political content. So it's really hard to actually, the core deducible element of disinformation and influence operation is really attribution and intent. So for, if there's particular politician, they are actually being tackled in the content, and we observe particular actors and accounts linked to politicians, but we cannot assure that they are necessarily connected with the politician. So that's it for the, if there's a politician connected on the disinformation. But definitely, we see an array of topics on politics. And for the question of scaling, actually, the Salig Bangsamoro is, the dial is actually already a scale for the National Capital Region. And we're not only tackling topics on the politics, but also in climate and environment. We also have like scams and frauds. And as I've said, one of our challenges really is to know the intent and the attribution of who is really behind of all this disinformation. So it's really hard to, right now the challenge really for identifying disinformation is not just actually on the element of the topic and content, but also on how they cascade it in the social media. So we have like inauthentic behaviors like being recognized by Meta. They have investigations as well. And we also see like a scale-up information influence operations, which is an old communication strategy of trying to do a soft power or soft communication style to really influence and solve confusion on public. And that's actually something that we want to look out, because we could not address each content. We could not, I know that when it comes to debunking, such as fact-checking initiatives, it's one of the important aspect, but we also have to do like pre-bunking, and that's when digital literacy on youth and educators will be very important.
Kia, I think you have to answer very, very quick. How you intend to expand that nationwide, and also how to sustain this. Okay,
Yeah,
very, very quick.
Yeah, actually, we have media partners who are really into doing alerts for the influence operations and disinformation. So right now, our focus is really have other media to be part of it to really sustain the awareness, because for the media in the Philippines, we also have like the foundational skills. We really have to let them know what, not just disinformation, because in public, we know that they only recognize fake news, but that's not necessarily the case right now, because we have like strategy that is really targeted to, especially right now that election is coming here in the Philippines. So we had a lot of things to do, and we have not just partners with media, but we'll also have like educators to really scale up the initiatives.
Right. Thank you very much. Now, the last question. Let's give it to our other panelists, please. The question, I think, is very important. What do you see in the future? What's the future of social media? How you see that? Is that something that we have to be afraid of? Is that something that we have to have a concern? Or something bright out there that, we see, other developments that are coming that can really help us in our work? So quickly, for all the remaining panelists, Mr. Hassan, Dalen, we have Mr. So and Gemma. So can you please tell us about if you see anything about, the future of social media?
First of all, I think the communities should understand the concept of DRR while understanding the risks and the warning messages. So this is something that we also face, but we see the advancements of technologies has brought our island communities together.
Okay.
Before, in 2004 tsunami, we were so much dispersed and we didn't know few things that was happening in some part of the atolls. But the social media and the media for transferring risk information has brought us very closely. And of course, in the future, when AI is integrated into social media, we don't know how advanced it would be, and we should harness in bringing in this into our risk communication.
Thank you very much. Then we have
Thank you very
Dalen.
much. So in the future, in the next 5, 10 years, or in the future, I would like to see social media has played an important role in disseminate or in spreading the awareness or the information that related to technology, especially it related to the children entertainment, because that when they watch this video or they get information from it, they get to entertain while learning from it as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dalen. We have Mr. So.
I think like we are talking about the top down mostly, really focus on how we reach the people, but the way that we can use the people on the ground to reach back to us using a social media really impress them, and then they will be engaged. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. So.
Thank you. So social media is a huge opportunity, and some of the same principles apply in terms of being able to reach people, but to do everything I was talking about with media, you can do that with social media. So it's a huge opportunity. And of course, the flip side is the additional challenge around mis and disinformation that we've spoken about. So again, coming back to this issue of trust, is just making sure that even in social media content, you're featuring trusted figures, working with trusted media, thinking about digital media literacy and all of those other elements as well that can help address issues of mis and disinformation. But I think social media is a huge opportunity.
Thank you very much. So let's give all our panelists a big round of applause. This is indeed a very interesting and very important topic. I just want to share one thing, that did not come out in the discussion today, that I felt very important. In the Philippine Red Cross, we take risk communication very important as part of our work. One thing that we have thought about is we serve as the bridge between the science, the other bureau like Weather Bureau or other authorities, in disseminating information to the communities. So we're the bridge. Sometimes it's not enough to say wind speed of 160 kilometers per hour. It's not enough to say that, flood level will be like this. We have to be more, I think we have to find a way how to really communicate it properly to the people in a more descriptive way. Because when we say strong, moderate, and mild, my strong might be just mild for you. So we have different experiences in life. So what we do, we now describe the situation. We can say that a flood will come, the water level will be this high as forecasted, the rainfall will be this much. So this can be similar to a typhoon that happened 5 years ago. The typhoon name is like this, where the water level hit the roof of the people. So we kind of became the bridge, of science and the community to interpret information and really send the right message across to people. It is about trust when we say risk communication. So they should trust us enough for the information we have to give them. Well, that is what I want to add in already the very rich discussions that we have in terms of our role that we can play, in ensuring that it should be effective. So, whether it is traditional media or emerging digital platform, our goal should be to build trust, inclusivity, and of course, to be an agent of the communities, ensuring that every warning message that we give out is a call to action that can truly save lives. Okay? So thank you very much. I enjoyed moderating with all of you. Very nice crowd. Catherine, thank you for your message. Sasha, thank you for helping with all the organization. Thank you very much. And let us be a champion of early warning for all, that everybody must be covered with our risk communication and early warning. Thank you all of you, and good afternoon. Sorry, they kept reminding me of the time. Thank you very much, everyone. Let's have a photo, maybe.